Well, greetings and welcome to another video from KitKat Computing. So today I already did a video on Mint 22 and whatnot, and so now we're in the process of doing what's called good production, or at least what I consider good production. This laptop here that you're seeing is my Dell Latitude 5400 that I recently purchased. This machine is my test laptop, so it's going to be the first one to get new software before everybody else does. And that's important because now I can keep ahead of the curve. So my travel laptop and my production laptop don't necessarily have to take the hit right away, though it is nice to be able to upgrade this if it goes wrong, then I don't have to worry about those.
This is fine.
So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a look at the system settings. And as you can see here, I'm still on kernel 5.15. This is a totally stock Mint 21.3. This is a fresh install from maybe a week or two ago. This is an i7 8th gen. It's actually 4 full cores with whiskey-like graphics. So nothing crazy. I threw the RAM and the SSD in here. I might upgrade the SSD later down the road, but for a test machine, I think it's plenty. The RAM was just I had it on hand, and this machine didn't come with any. So pretty nifty stuff. I will have a separate video talking about this laptop. TLDR, this laptop would be incredibly forgettable, but it does everything very decently well, except speakers. So, as recently, we have a Linux Mint release. And so let me go to... So, as of very recently, we had a Mint 22 release known as Wilma. Yes, I know the Flintstones references are not lost on me. I did grow up with the Flintstones. But, you know, this is something that if you were somebody who realistically was into it, everything you need to know is in this post. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but the biggest thing is a lot of the hood changes have happened. We've moved to Pipewire. We've done some increase in the graphics and whatnot. Obviously, Snap Store. Touchpad drivers are switched to lib input now, but you can enable synaptics. And a few other minor tweaks and whatnot. Redshift is going away, which is unfortunate. I did enjoy that at night, but that's okay. You don't really have to have it. And a number of other things. Now, there are some problems and whatnot in the release, though I haven't come across them yet, so maybe that'll be fine. I do have a couple other test systems that will get upgraded, and we'll see how that goes. But the important thing to note is we can now upgrade. You don't just have to clean install. Some people don't like doing this, other people do. Here's my mantra. I used to be a big old I'll wipe and reload my system kind of guy. Let's be real. You are probably an average person who doesn't want to wipe, nuke, pave, and re-put all your data back on the device. I can do that on this device because I have no data on it. I mean, I have a Nextcloud set up, so I can just sync my data back. I don't care if it gets nuked away. Everything I need is in my Nextcloud. So with that being said, I have grown to the point where I have year-old installs and I want to be able to migrate those to the next version. Think about how you use Windows, right? Even on this fresh install of Windows 10 on the recording computer here, I'm still sitting here knowing that I would just upgrade to the next version of Windows. I didn't reinstall. You just installed a service pack, or you just upgraded to Windows 8 or Windows 10 or whatever operating system you happen to be on. So one normally would do that. So what I recommend, this is a laptop, we're plugged into power, and they do comment here in the notes here that they're expecting heavy server demand, and they said, hey, you want to switch to Fastly, it'll be faster. I'm going to stick with the standard repos for this particular laptop because I think it should be fine. it will reset to the default Mint mirrors anyway, and those I believe either are or are close to Fastly. I did a video on switching to the Fastly mirrors. They are pretty wicked fast, but if you want to, they actually have them right here. So if you have problems, then you can switch to the Fastly mirrors. I wouldn't, just in case they're not up to date, but you certainly can, and they recommend it. And the instructions are really straightforward. They even link to them right here, which is these instructions right here. It's in some ways I wish there was just an app in the app launcher to do it, but there really isn't. It has to be done through the terminal, which is fine. I created at one time a little shortcut that launched the Mintupgrade tool. That's another great way to do it, but it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to open up the terminal. And before we get too carried away, I'm actually going to open Timeshift. See, I got to do that. And I'm actually going to create a manual. I would create a manual backup if I didn't already have one. I've got one right here from the 23rd. I know that was a few days ago, but I haven't used this laptop in a little bit. It should be fine. But what you really want to do is you want to just create a snapshot if you don't already have one. If you don't care and you'll just reload anyway, and this is really something you don't need to do, but you can see just doing a snapshot is going to take me literally longer than I can make conversation for, but less than a minute, because there really hasn't been a lot going on this machine. And then boom, I have a snapshot. So this is our snapshot in case everything goes wrong, which is good. And I will go through after the upgrade and remove these snapshots to make space, but you could also just let them automatically do it. But I did some manuals. So on Earl Grey here, we're going to move this over to the side, and we're going to do a sudo apt update. You would normally put in your password. And so, I got this one set to the Purdue mirrors because they're pretty stable. UC Berkeley was the other one I was using earlier. And it says I've got packages. So I would say apt list -- upgradable. And I like using Nala, so actually I'm going to say Nala list upgradable. So Nala update sudo. Nala is a little bit easier to read, so it's Nala list upgradable. And there's a pretty good chunk. The big one I want to look for is Mintupgrade. If you specifically see that in here, you're definitely going to want to do stuff. So we're going to get a sudo Nala or apt upgrade. And we'll reboot after these updates because there's some libraries involved. But you basically want to go through, make sure your mirrors are up to date, and if you haven't done system updates, run those now. You want to make sure your system is as up to date as you physically can make it at this particular point in time. I'm not worried about Flatpaks per se, because those can just update when you update the system. But in this particular case, I want to make sure my system is up to date. As we run the package, get to the chopper. Yeah, see, there was some system D stuff going on in there. Typically, because I got a kernel update, even though we're about to upgrade, it's not going to matter. I'm going to go ahead and let this go through, and I'm going to reboot the system, and once we're back here, I'll start the recording again, and we'll go through the rest of these instructions. Rainbows. There we go. Alrighty. We got ourselves a upgraded system. back. So I'm just going to open up the terminal again. I'm going to go ahead and grab those instructions, though I do have them up on this side laptop, but I just like having them up on the machine itself so you guys can see as well. So we're going to do our sudo apt update. Now in my case, there's a chance that my fingerprint drivers will probably bork. So I'm actually going to go in and turn off fingerprint authentication. You won't have to do that. And the reason you won't have to do that is because I'm running some one-off Dell drivers. I'll probably have to reinstall them after the upgrade. We'll see if they get removed or not. But I want to turn off fingerprint authentication because it will start triggering the authentication, and then I won't be able to authenticate, and that would be ugly. Not normally a problem if you have normal kernel drivers for this. This thing does not have to install proprietary Broadcom drivers, which suck. So, as you can see, we have no system updates. So now I need to go sudo apt install Mintupgrade. And it will say, yeah, I've got this package for you. And you'll say yes. So that'll install the actual Mintupgrade package. From here, we're going to type sudo Mintupgrade. And as you can see, we've got the upgrade to Wilma, which is nice. So go ahead and say let's go. And it's going to do some testing. So what it's going to do is going to clear the app cache, and it's going to do basically make sure you don't have any updates or other conflicting package and whatnot. Because what it's going to have to do is it's going to check the amount of held packages and actual packages you have installed to see if there's anything that's not going to work. See, now you can see the following packages do not exist in the repositories. And if you say OK, then you can uninstall them. It says they do not exist. In rare cases, orphan packages can interfere with the upgrade. I'm going to say press OK. If we have a problem, I'll remove them separately. I'm surprised it's not saying I'm going to remove them, but I'm going to say OK. And now it's going to do a simulation. I actually kind of love this. So it temporarily sets your sources to the new sources and runs a full simulation of, okay, what if we were on the new repos and I'm trying to do a full dist upgrade? What would happen? And so it goes through everything as if it did everything to make sure it doesn't have any problems. So it says, upgrade simulation, you're going to download 2.5 gigabytes. You'll need an additional 1 gig, this many packages, and we're going to remove this many packages. Now, a lot of these libraries down here are relevant to Pulse Audio, if I remember right. Like Lib Sound and whatnot. I don't see anything super crazy. Yeah, they got to remove that. User merge. I don't see anything crazy. Yeah, so we'll say okay. So it's going to run through that simulation as if it is going to do everything. I actually do like this about their upgrade tool, is it pretends to upgrade before it upgrades. So at this point, if something went wrong, nothing's going to get damaged. Nothing happens, which is really cool. It's actually one of the few upgrade tools that does this in a relatively safe manner. The Mint team does tend to be relatively conservative in terms of their packages and their upgrade cycles, and I appreciate that because I tend to have very good success in upgrading from version to version. This will be the first major version I've upgraded to. Straight up. Now, my main production laptop, I did upgrade from 20.3 to 21 because I needed the kernel update. That particular machine needed newer than kernel 5.13, if I recall correctly. And so I'll need that. We will see if my installed Broadcom drivers will cause a problem. If it doesn't, fantastic. I would love to be able just to re-enable fingerprint and move on. Um, but you're never going to know until after this goes through. And then yeah, once you're done with the upgrade, it says to remove Mintupgrade and then reboot. Could take several hours. Um, if it has a boot repair problem, you just boot off an ISO and do boot repair. Launch timeshift, snap back if something bad happens. Yeah, the font rendering, that does happen. Fonts breaking because of the upgrade can definitely happen. Otherwise, you can do a fresh installation. Okay. So, that went all perfectly, and there were no issues. So, that's fantastic. So, now we're going to do the upgrade. And I'm just going to send it. So now we are actually downloading packages and performing the system upgrade. Now, this very well might take a few minutes, so I will probably cut from here and come back when something interesting happens. But for now, she's upgrading. I mean, this is how difficult it is to initiate an upgrade in Mint. They make it pretty straightforward for you. So I'll be back at a suitable point. So we're back again, and yeah, I actually forgot they also migrated from the old network manager to NetPlan, at least on the Ubuntu version. So that was kind of cool. So now that we did the upgrade, there are some foreign packages that need to be downgraded from where they were to the current ones, and I know where this comes from. This comes from some apps in Mint being downgraded in order to keep the GDK3 version. Perfectly fine. So we'll say go ahead and fix that. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I wish to some degree they had a progress bar to tell you how far through the process you were, but I mean, that just seems to be how they want to do it. So there's the pipe wire. That's actually one of the biggest upgrades for Mint that I'm actually looking forward to in production. Is I have so much better luck with pipe wire than Pulse Audio for just jacking up my audio for no apparent reason. Still happened on this particular laptop last night, but hey, you know what? And that, ladies and gents, is a system upgrade. That's all there is to it. So now we close everything and we reboot the system. And we see if terrible things happened. I've learned ever since Mint 19, Mint has done a much better job with in-place upgrades than the good old days of you're on your own. A tool like this just makes this process so straightforward. It's conservative. It gets you upgraded. You may have to reinstall a few packages. You might not. It at least tries to, not completely screw you over. And so we're going to log in with a super secure password. And here we are. Now let's confirm that we did in fact fully system upgrade. And we are on Mint 22 Cinnamon. So I will go ahead and, just for grins and giggles, we'll close and then reopen and then sudo su. My Broadcom driver still works, so my fingerprint reader is still going to work. This is fantastic. And so here's your fast fetch, guys, just to prove that I am here and made it through the upgrade. This is Mint 22. This is Pipewire. This is all the latest such and such things, I've got actions and whatnot that we talked about with the layouts and whatnot. I've got Wayland support if I really wanted to mess around with the experimental Wayland session. It's a lot less experimental than it used to be. I might on this system attempt for a few days, if not a week, to see how usable it is. We'll see. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up here. This system is upgraded. The only thing I might go and do later is go into the update manager here. And there might be some Flatpak updates, though I did just do system updates. Go into Linux kernels. And oh, well, the update tool went ahead and took care of that, because sometimes you have leftover kernels when you do an upgrade like that, but nope. Supported until April of 2029. Nice. So yeah, that is pretty much going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed upgrading your Linux Mint operating system. And I'm going to mess around with this for a few days, and then if it works out well, I'll slowly start upgrading the rest of my systems, including production. So with that, y'all have a great day, and take care. Peace out.